Hello, Adventure Buddies! We're celebrating one of Pikes Peak, America's mountain's most famous treats, the legendary high-altitude donut served at the Summit Visitor Center. For lots of people, reaching the summit is already a memory they'll never forget. You've driven, hiked, or biked all the way up to 14,115 feet above sea level. And then, waiting at the top is a warm, delicious donut unlike any donut you've had before, because it's a high-altitude donut. But that donut has a big history and can come with some big responsibilities. And in this episode, we're digging into the story behind the mountain's most iconic snacks, the Pikes Peak donut. So buckle up and get ready for Ranger Talks to go.
Ranger Talks to go. Ranger Talks to go. Ranger Talks to go. Ranger Talks to go. Ranger Talks to go.
Welcome, friends, to the summit of Pikes Peak, America's mountain. If you've made it to the top, congratulations. You are standing and maybe slowly catching your breath at 14,115 feet above sea level. That is high. So high, in fact, that the air has less oxygen than you're probably used to. The wind can be strong, the weather can change quickly, and even walking around may feel a little different up here. But this mountaintop is famous for more than the view. It's also home to the one, the only, the world-famous Pikes Peak high-altitude donut. Now sure, this donut is delicious, but it's also historic. It connects visitors today with people who traveled up this mountain more than 100 years ago. So where did the Pikes Peak donut come from? Why did it become such a big part of the summit experience? And how can you make sure nothing gets left behind? And we mean nothing. Not the tray, not the napkin, and definitely not the crumbs. Let's travel back in time. The year is 1888. There's no Summit Visitor Center, no cool gift shop, no warm cafe. Instead, on top of Pikes Peak, there is a U.S. Army weather station, where two weather observers lived and worked at the summit, collecting important information about mountain weather. Imagine that job for a moment. Cold temperatures, powerful winds, snowstorms, thin air, long days, and a very, very high workplace. These observers were not just visiting for a quick photo and a donut. They were living in one of the harshest environments in the region. And somehow, in the middle of all that, they figured out how to make donuts at 14,115 feet. Now, the earliest details of the donut story are a little fuzzy. We don't have every recipe card, every journal entry, or every moment written down. But we do know that donuts became connected to the summit experience very early on. When the weather station eventually closed, the tradition could have disappeared. But people didn't want that to happen. The story goes that the mayor of Manitou Springs wanted the donut tradition to continue, especially as a treat for tired travelers and hikers who made it all the way to the top. And honestly, can you blame them? After climbing or traveling up a mountain, a fresh donut probably sounded pretty amazing, especially back then. Over time, the donut became more than just a snack. It became part of the story of Pikes Peak. By around 1916, the recipe had developed into the version we still use today. And these are not ordinary donuts. If you've tried one, you may have noticed they look, feel, or taste a little different from donuts you would buy down in town. That's because baking and frying at high altitude is tricky. At 14,115 feet, the air pressure is lower. Dough behaves differently. Ingredients don't always rise, cook, or set the same way they do at lower elevations. Recipes often need special adjustments just so they can work in the thin, cold mountain air. In other words, the Pikes Peak donut isn't just made on the mountain, it's made for the mountain. Even the donut making equipment has become part of the legend. The donut machine at the Summit Visitor Center is huge, weighing more than 1,500 pounds. It was installed early during construction because it was too large to fit through the doors later. The team likes to joke that the building was designed around the donut machine. See, we take our donuts pretty seriously up here. Today, people come from all over the world to try the Pikes Peak donut. Some visitors have heard about it for years. Some are trying it for the first time. And for many people, that donut becomes part of their memory of reaching the summit. Most visitors do a great job taking care of their trash. They throw away their trays, hold onto their napkins, and make sure their snack wrappers end up where they belong. But sometimes things get away. A napkin slips from someone's hand, a paper tray gets left behind on a bench, a coffee cup rolls down a rock. And it's easy to think, it's just one little piece of trash, how much harm could it really do? Well, with over 400,000 visitors each year, small things add up. Pikes Peak isn't just famous for donuts and views. It's also home to an incredible and fragile ecosystem called the alpine tundra. The alpine tundra is the high elevation environment found above the trees. Up here, conditions are tough. The air is thin. temperatures can be cold, winds can be fierce, snow can linger, the soil is shallow, and the growing season is very short. In fact, plants in the alpine tundra may only have about 6 to 8 weeks to grow each year. That's not much time at all. Down at lower elevations, plants may have months and months to grow, flower, recover, and spread. But up here, everything happens slowly. Some tundra plants take years, even decades, to grow just a few inches. That means a plant you step on today may not bounce back next week, or next month, or even next year. In some places, damage to the alpine tundra can take 100 years or more to heal, if it heals at all. That's why staying on designated trails and keeping trash out of the tundra is so important. Now let's think about what happens when food or trash gets left behind. A food wrapper can block sunlight from tiny plants. A spilled drink can soak into fragile soil. A paper tray can blow onto rocks and stay there for months. And crumbs, even tiny crumbs, can attract animals where they don't belong. That might not sound bad at first. After all, animals eat food, right? But wildlife needs wild food. Human food can make animals sick. It can change their behavior. It can teach them to come closer to people, roads, parking lots, and buildings. And when animals start looking for snacks from visitors instead of finding their natural foods, it can put them and you in danger. Even crumbs can add unnatural nutrients to the soil and change the balance of this delicate mountaintop environment. So yes, even crumbs matter, especially here. Let's imagine something simple. You enjoy a donut, wipe your hands with a napkin, and then a gust of wind suddenly snatches that napkin away. Now the napkin tumbles across the summit, catches on a rock, and gets stuck in a patch of alpine plants. What happens next? Maybe it sits there for weeks. Maybe it gets wet, freezes, dries out, and blows somewhere else. Maybe an animal investigates it. Maybe another visitor sees it and feels like the mountaintop is a little less wild. Or maybe no one notices it at all. But whether someone notices or not, it still doesn't belong there. Trash doesn't just disappear because it's small. And in a place with cold temperatures, slow-growing plants, and strong winds, things can stick around much longer than we expect. The good news is that this is a simple problem we can help prevent. Pack it in, pack it out. That means anything you bring with you should leave with you too. Your tray, your cup, your napkin. Your crumbs, if you can help it. If it came with you, it should go back with you. Alright, are you up for a quick challenge? We're going to play a game called Trash or Treasure. Here's how it works. I'll describe something you might see during your visit to Pikes Peak. You decide whether it's a treasure, meaning it belongs on the mountain and should be left alone, or trash, meaning it needs to be packed out or thrown away properly. Ready? Let's play. You spot a beautiful little wildflower growing beside the trail. Is it trash or treasure? Too easy. Treasure. Wildflowers are part of the alpine tundra ecosystem. They provide beauty, habitat, and food for pollinators. They also take a long time to grow up here, so we leave them right where they are. Take a photo and let the next visitor enjoy it too. What about your empty donut tray after you finish snacking? Trash or treasure? See, this game's not too hard. That one is trash. Even if it is made of paper or cardboard, it doesn't belong in the wild. It should go into the proper trash bin or stay with you until you find one. Okay, here's a curveball. How about a shiny rock you spot near the trail? Trash or treasure? This one can be tricky because rocks may seem like fun souvenirs, but rocks are part of the mountain too. They help protect soil, create tiny habitats, and play a role in the ecosystem. Some animals, like our yellow-bellied marmots, lick off the minerals on the rock to help keep their nervous system healthy. So that shiny rock, it's a treasure. Leave it where you found it. And what about a napkin blowing across the ground? Trash or treasure? Definitely trash. If it's safe to grab it, go ahead and catch it. But remember, safety comes first. Don't run near steep edges, walk on the tundra, climb into unsafe areas, or put yourself at risk. If trash blows somewhere dangerous, tell a ranger or a staff member. Last one, the memory of your first Pikes Peak donut. That one is absolutely a treasure. That memory can go home with you. Tell your friends, tell your family, tell them you had a donut at 14,115 feet. Just make sure the napkin, tray, and crumbs don't stay behind. So how can you help protect Pikes Peak while still enjoying your donut? It's pretty easy. First, if you brought it up, take it back down or dispose of it in the proper bin. Second, watch out for the wind. The summit can be breezy, And sometimes trash tries to escape. Hold on to lightweight items like napkins and wrappers. Tuck them into a pocket or a bag before they blow away. Prevention is key. Third, if you don't see a trash bin right away, hold on to your items until you find one. You can do it. You made it up a mountain, for goodness sake. And finally, remember that protecting Pikes Peak is not only a ranger's job, it's something all of us can help with. Every visitor who picks up after themselves helps keep the summit cleaner, safer, and healthier. Every person who stays on the trail helps protect fragile tundra plants. Every family that packs out their trash helps wildlife stay wild. And every donut eater who leaves no crumbs helps keep this tradition sweet for the next person. The Pikes Peak donut is more than a tasty treat. It's a one-of-a-kind, high-altitude tradition with more than a century of mountain history behind it. This mountaintop is fragile. The alpine tundra grows slowly, recovers slowly, and depends on all of us to treat it with care. So enjoy your donut, take in the view, respect the peak. I sure do appreciate you tuning in today. If you want to learn even more Pikes Peak facts, stories, and ways to protect the mountain, check out the other episodes of Ranger Talks to Go. And for younger adventurers, Junior Ranger Talks to Go has kid-friendly topics you can listen to too. All right, talk soon, Peak pals. This is Ranger Matt signing off for now.
Ranger Talks